If a woman suddenly gets too busy, here's what's really going on. Typically, when she's too busy, obviously you're not the priority anymore. Priority means there's only one thing at the top of the list. You don't have priorities, you have one priority, and that's what it is. You're either at the top of her list or you're not. You can't always be at the top of her list. She's got other shit going on. You got kids, she's got a job, and she's got other things going on. So you can't always be at the top of her list. But at the same time, like if I'm with my wife is always going to be my top priority. Why? Because she's the mother of my children, it's the family, and it's the foundation of like the life that I built, is having that relationship and that marriage. Outside of doing this right here with you, running this business, this right here is typically like my big thing outside of being with myself, like being prioritized myself so that I can have a healthy place, my business, my purpose, and my family are tightly, closely in with all of this. So there's a sense of congruency with all these things. My wife supports it and I support her in her endeavors. But for you, what happens if she just starts getting cold to you, obviously she doesn't want to be around you, she gets busy, she avoids having date nights, she avoids having any time alone with you or critical conversations, and then when you try to bring up conversations about, hey, why are we not hanging out, and then she deflects and she just makes a general offhand remark like, oh, I'm just, I got a lot going on at work, or I'm just busy with the kids, and I just got a lot going on, and sorry, and she doesn't really seem to have any inkling of wanting to be with you, then we've got something else going on. So my name is Ed Baxter, and I help guys in betrayal situations. The process of being with a woman for 50 years or a woman that you're dating is pretty much the same. For us, it's just science. Because we know the patterns, we know the solutions. It's not that complicated. You have to make a commitment for yourself. That's what it means to be in Soul Seducer program. That's what it means to work with me directly. So that you can learn to handle your emotions, so you can learn to see right into a woman's soul and seduce her from within, to create this garden that she can actually thrive in. We'll get you to that place where you make the right decision for you and your children. So typically what you should look for, when you ask a woman, hey, we haven't hung out a lot, we should have a date night. She should be enthusiastic. She should say, yes, absolutely, we should do this, it'll be great. But if she starts saying, okay, yeah, that sounds good, and she's kind of like take it or leave it attitude, and then it just keeps kicking a can down the road, you're obviously not the priority. And so then what happens is, if I'm coaching a guy and he gets in a situation with his wife, which most of the guys I talk to are in this situation, then I'll ask, okay, let's back it up. Let's see how much you're pouring into this woman. Because most of the guys I'm dealing with are dealing with a lot of insecure behavior, a lot of neediness, a lot of pulling on his wife. From her perspective, he's pulling on her constantly, and a date night is just another sense of pulling on her. So she's trying to create some space so she can have some autonomy. She's losing herself in a relationship, losing herself to being a mother, losing herself to being a job. She's perceiving that she's in a space where she's giving everything to everybody else. She has no time alone for herself, which means that her husband has now become another emotional drain, which is a major red flag and a major sign that that needs to be remedied immediately. When you're with your woman and she's with you, it should be a sense of recharging. You come together and you recharge. Why? Because you're not pulling on each other. You're just existing together, right? If you're hanging out with your best friend, do you feel drained hanging out with him, or do you recharge? Yeah, you recharge because you're having a great fucking time. You're not pulling anything from him, and he's not pulling anything from you. You're just vibing. You're just having a good time together. You're just connecting. It should be like this with your woman too. And so when she wants to avoid this and she doesn't want to be with you, just realize that you're not the top priority. She needs some space from you for whatever reason. So the first thing I have guys do is, hey, let's give her that space. Let her come to you in her own time and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. That means 100%. Don't pull on her. Don't text her so much. And all this needy energy that we're doing, and I'll dive into it specifically with him, what his needy actions are, and stop doing that. And then 3-4 days go by, she's pulling on him again. She wants to hang out with him, and then problem solved. Easy. Now it's just a matter of him consistently doing this. Now, if he does this, and she still doesn't want to have any contact with him, or she's still avoiding it, she's doing this because it's a lot easier to distance herself by not actually addressing the root issue, which is, hey, there's something going on with the relationship mechanism here. There's either some sort of connection missing, or there's some sort of attraction switch that needs to happen. For her, it's kind of a soft exit. She doesn't actually have to have a conversation with you. She could just avoid you until eventually she just discards you completely. Now, this doesn't happen overnight, but this also means that you're going to have to lead the situation. You're going to have to walk into the collision. You're going to have to walk in and have this critical conversation with her about what the root of the issue is. Now that we've determined that it's not you pulling on her in a needy fashion, what is the thing that's keeping her away from you? What is the thing that she's doing that's avoiding the conversation? I guarantee you she's going to manipulate the hell out of this conversation. Why? Because a woman who's healthy and cares about you and cares about the relationship is not going to let it get to this point. She's not going to avoid it. She's not going to hide from it. She's going to want to have this conversation with you, just like she's going to want to have date night with you. She's going to want to say, hey, this is what's going on with me, and we need to address it. And then you address it like a normal adult couple. Take accountability, Then you take the responsibility of making a change, and you both make the change, and then you're good to go. And I know that women like this exist because my wife is one of these, and several of the guys that have come through my program have gone and found and married women just like this. And so if you want that kind of woman in your life, you're going to have to learn these skills of how to get through the barriers. You're going to have to learn these skills of how to get around manipulation. You're going to have to learn the skills of getting around how these women work so that you can get with the good women that are this way, that are caring, that are empathetic, that do care about you and appreciate all the hard work you do. But if you're going to have to get in this collision, you're going to have to lead the collision. Why? Because this game of avoiding you is a game of avoidance, which means she's not going to have this conversation with you at all. You're going to have to drive the boat on this. You're going to have to take the leadership role and have this critical conversation with her. You're going to have to nail her down to a time and a place and actually have the conversation, have the collision. And you're going to get manipulated. She's going to deflect. Well, it's not me, so I got all these other things going on. She's going to say that all her priorities aren't her fault, it's everything else. Or she's going to minimize. It's not that big a deal. I do care, all this stuff. And then she's not going to really get to the root of it. And you're going to come out of that conversation like, well, we talked about doing it in the future, but it's not actually going to happen. The third thing she's going to do is she's now going to blame it on you. She's going to divert it back to you. Well, you need this, and you're all this, and I'm just this, and then she'll play victim on this one. All three of these are victim. I don't have control. I'm just going to minimize it. I don't have the ability because of my environment. I can't because of you. And then past that, she's going to start laying into you. Now she's going to start criticizing your tone. She's going to criticize how you're approaching it. And then she's going to criticize the fact that you always ruin everything and that you don't understand her and you can't see her and all this stuff. Because if you did, you wouldn't ask her this question to begin with. You wouldn't even come into this because you just already have it solved and already have it figured out. And then you're going to walk through all of these and then you'll nail her down and actually have the conversation. Or she'll walk away, which means you'll have to escalate it further in the next conversation, which is not going to be pretty. But that's typically the levels and the layers that she's going to take you through if she's going to manipulate this because she's avoiding the conversation to begin with. And if you have the verbal jujitsu and the verbal skills to navigate all of those stages, like the guys in my program, Broken to Badass or Soul Seducer do, then you can navigate that and actually get to the root of the problem and actually solve it. But again, you have to become good at this because most women are going to do this to you. Most women are going to have some sort of this manipulation going on. And the more that you do this, the more that you train the relationship to not be this way. Most women do this because they get away with it, because it's easier, because it's just so much easier to just blame you than actually make a real change. It's easier to blame the husband instead of actually being different, which ironically doesn't give them what they truly want, which is a great love and great intimacy. Anyways, brother, I hope you got some value in this video. Tell me what's happening with you. Have you been able to do this? Turn this around in your situation where she's been pulling away and then you were able to get to the root of it and really figure out what's going on? If you have, tell me about your success story. I'd love to hear about it. And if you haven't, tell me about that too. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video.